Here we have some chacruna. We've got a whole bunch of these plants all planted throughout here, about 30. And this chacruna in particular, there's several species of chacruna, but this chacruna in particular has these two prongs under the leaf. And this is like one of the features that distinguish between the good chacruna, which I guess would be measured by potency in terms of alkaloids, and particular dimethyltryptamine, DMT, which is the active substance that causes the psychedelic experience when it's combined with ayahuasca, which is a MAOI inhibitor. So the MAOI inhibitor allows for absorption of the dimethyltryptamine, the DMT, from the chacruna, which produces the visionary experiences when one drinks ayahuasca. So we were motivated to get a bunch of these plants here and get them growing, just because it gives us the ability to farm our own chacruna and be a little bit more sustainable here at Nihue Rao, and because it's fun and it's a nice way to have something to do. These plants look pretty healthy. We're still learning as we go. The soil here naturally is quite full of clay, which isn't great, and chacruna specifically needs a relatively low pH to do well, between 4 to 4.5. And so a lot of the soil that we've used for cultivating these plants, we've actually brought in from different areas and tributaries around the Amazon River, just because the location that we're at right now doesn't have the best soil for these plants in particular. So we've brought in our own soil and then added compost, added biochar, and even a little bit of powdered sulfur in some cases to help bring the pH down. So far, so good. These plants are about 3, maybe 4 months old, 5 months, somewhere like that. And the interesting thing about chacruna is that you can just harvest the leaves and leave a few leaves at the top. One of our really good friends, he's Shipibo, his name's Felix. He works for us here and does a lot of our construction, amazing, talented carpenter. He grew up farming chacruna with his dad in Pucallpa. And yeah, gave us lots of tips, lots of advice. So we're pretty excited. We have 50 plants in total. And chacruna can also be propagated just by taking a leaf like that and basically just finding a place in the soil to stick it, putting that there like that, and eventually it'll grow roots and another plant can be grown. So a lot of these plants were actually taken from cuttings. Some were started from seed, but some were taken from cuttings. So we're going to be experimenting with some of the different plants and see which ones do best, and seeing if we can kind of just take clones and continue planting chacruna all throughout here and in most of the shady areas that we have. We also have ayahuasca growing here. The ayahuasca takes a little bit longer to grow. These are all small ayahuasca vines. We've got quite a few around here. Some of them seem to be taking off quite well. And the thing with the ayahuasca vine that's really interesting about planting is that the vine that we get also comes from Pucallpa. And we just take like a small cutting of vine from the medicine house, put it in the ground next to a tree, and then it grows up. So this one is probably about 6 or 8 months old, and it's already taken off and gone quite high. It's a little bit of a slimmer tree. We were kind of hoping it was going to wrap around the tree here, the much larger one. But yeah, simple, sustainable. We've got a lot of trees to put ayahuasca around, so we're going to continue doing that. It takes about, I think, 6 to 8 years for a vine to become mature, and it can be cut so that it will regrow, and then pieces of the cuttings used to make medicine can also be put in the ground next to another tree to grow more ayahuasca and grow more vine. So we're hoping over the years that we can establish a lot of ayahuasca and a lot of chacruna so that everything can be grown, harvested directly here at Nihue Rao and the Permaculture project, and be used for Sacred Rebels recovery retreats and for the center, so that when people come, they can see where their plant medicine's being harvested from, how it's being grown, and learn more about the experience and learn more about the nature of production of ayahuasca.